to Designer by Designer, IALD new series of one-on-one interviews with and by lighting designers around the world. My name is Sophie Charvin. I'm the co-coordinator of the IALD Eastern Canada chapter, and I'm joined by David Suck from IALD New York chapter. And we are excited to welcome you to the second interview in this series with Alexandre Tougas, Associate IALD from the IALD Eastern Canada chapter, and Selin Ergeneli from the IALD New York chapter. Before we begin, we would like to thank our sponsors. Designer by Designer series is made possible through the generous support of our platinum level sponsors, Axis Lighting, Cooper Lighting, Lutron Electronics, Lumen Pulse, our gold level sponsors, including Lambent Lighting Group, Lumini, and our silver level sponsors. Today's interview is being broadcast on Zoom and Facebook Live and is being recorded and will be available later to view on YouTube. Selin will be answering questions at the end of the interview. So if you are watching with us on Zoom, please use the Q&A option throughout the interview. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Alexandre Tougas and Selin Ergeneli to the second interview of IALD's Designer by Designer.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us for this second interview. It's a pleasure to be here and to be on the other side of the table this week. So for those of you who were not with us 2 weeks ago, I am Alexandre Tougas. I'm the head of design of Light Factor based in Montreal. And today I have the pleasure to interview Selin Ergeneli, IALD from the New York chapter. It's nice to meet you, Selin.
Hi, nice to virtually meet you too.
Yeah, so, okay, so before we jump into the this or that question to break off the ice, could you introduce yourself? So a quick introduction. So where are you from, and let's say for which company do you work?
I work at Lighting Workshop. I am from Turkey, Ankara, the capital, but I've been living in New York City for the past 8 years.
Okay, thanks. Cool. So we'll come with to that later in the question. So as I said, so before we go with the real questions, we'll do a round of this or that. So I'm going to give you 2 words, and you must choose your favorite between the 2. So the idea is here is only to get to know you a bit more about you with fun question, no wrong answer, just fun and laugh. So I'll start with the most important question, finish with the most serious one, and in the middle it will be just for the fun. So you ready?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Ketchup or mayonnaise?
Ketchup.
Sauce
actually
on the
mustard.
side?
Sorry, actually mustard. None of them, but mustard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sauce on the side or sauce on the top?
On the side.
Okay, so mustard on the side. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the basic question that I think we ask everyone. So wine or beer?
Wine.
Okay. White light or colored light?
Definitely white, but warm white.
Yeah. Bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Air guitar or air drum?
Air guitar, definitely.
Okay. Okay. I have a couple of those. Hot coffee or iced coffee?
I think it depends on the temperature outside, but mostly hot coffee because I get cold so easily. It's actually annoying. Yeah.
Okay. Clean as you cook or clean up at the end?
Clean as you cook, 100%.
Yeah. Nah,
yeah.
I can't do
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm really OCD.
Okay. Okay, you win one turn in the time machine. You go back in time or in the future?
I guess in the future. Yeah. Okay, let's go with future. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so careful with this one. I've already asked your colleagues. Messy desk or clean desk?
Clean desk.
Okay.
Clean desk, yeah.
Okay, last one, and it's a serious one. It could set up the world for the next thing. Toilet paper roll installation, over or under?
Over. So the beard is cool. What is it called? The Tiger King hair, whatever. That hair is bad. The mullet is bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
All good. Hey, you see, it was easy, right?
Yeah.
You
Fun.
did great.
Thanks.
You did great. Perfect. So, okay, for now, on to the real question, the serious part of
Okay.
the interview. So, can you tell us how you did choose lighting, or let's say how lighting chose you? You know, as a child, it's not common to dream of being a lighting designer. I would say it's rather uncommon. Good. So, what has been your path in the lighting world?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people want to be lighting designers as children. I really wanted to be either an interior designer or a product designer as a kid. I kind of like always knew what I wanted to do, and I did end up studying interior architecture for my undergraduate degree. And while I was doing undergrad degree in Turkey, I was selected as an exchange student to go to Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And there I was studying architecture for a year, and I took this elective class called architectural lighting. But looking back, our professor, she was a fantastic person, Cindy Limaro. I might be butchering her last name, but she was not from the architecture department. She was from the theater department. So, and the light lab that we were working in, it was a theatrical lighting lab and not an architectural lighting lab. But I was so obsessed with that class. Like we were going up and down the ladders, changing like gels, looking at that, I think Roscoe like gel color booklet, and like reading passages from books and recreating the moods and the scenes, etc. So I was so obsessed. We had keys to the light lab. I was going there like even overtime just to like play around with the lights and stuff. And I was having an amazing time, like just hanging out there. So I approached the professor towards the end of the semester, and I said, like, I really want to do architectural lighting. What would you suggest that I do? And she advised me to look into Parsons lighting design, and then see how it goes afterwards. And I was like, oh my God, Parsons is such a hard school to get into. Like, it's one of the top design schools. Yeah. And I went back home to finish my senior year of undergrad. And meanwhile, I applied to Parsons and got in. And I was so stoked. And that's how my journey to lighting design actually began. I was in New York, like maybe like 2 weeks after I graduated from college. I was so excited. Yeah, wow. That's how it started.
It is fun that it's funny to hear that there's so many people came from the theater world. It's incredible. The more I meet people in the industry, the more I see that a lot come from the let's say the show mode or a spectacle or a theater or opera. It's incredible how many people come from there. So
yeah.
So during those moments before, let's say, or before Parsons, yeah, have you ever had let's say a dark moment in your path to lighting, let's say, where you ask yourself, what am I doing? Or afterwards, like, what was I doing?
Yep, actually, the first month I got to Parsons, we were assigned this first project. No one knows each other, like everybody's new. I'm one of the youngest in class. So it's already like kind of intimidating, and being in that like studio environment and like the top design school. We were supposed to create this black box, this cardboard black box, and some kind of lighting effect according to something that I can't remember right now. But they were like, here are the dimensions of the black box. You're gonna build it yourself, and here is the light lab, like upstairs. You can go knock yourself out, look at every single light source you can ever imagine, and just play with them and experiment and like have fun doing this like assignment. So I went out to the light lab very excited, and once I saw all those light sources, I realized that up until that point, my only experiment with lighting was just turning the switches on and off at home and like occasionally changing the light bulbs, helping my dad. And meanwhile, like all those light sources, none of them were connected to power sources. Like I didn't know all these like that at that time weird bases. Like I didn't know like how to connect anything to anything. Nothing was powering out. And in the meantime, all of my classmates who were coming from the theater lighting industry, they already knew, they had been practicing lighting for like the past 10 years, like doing shows all over the world. And I was just like watching them doing like cool stuff. And I said to myself, what have I done? What did I get myself into? I hated every single second of that first assignment. I almost burnt down my box because I was using a halogen source, and I like put it on the box, and it was during my final presentation, so I had to like turn it off. It was so bad. I was like, my parents sacrificed so much so I could come here. It's such an expensive school. Like, I don't belong here. And I was miserable that whole project. It was awful. It was like a very rocky start to my career, actually.
Yeah, well, I guess you overcome that because you're a graduate.
Yeah. No, yeah, I definitely. Afterwards, we got into more architectural assignments, which is more of my comfort zone, coming from like the architecture background.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it. I was the first one to go to studio. I was the last one to leave when they were yelling at us, like, leave the building, we need to go home and sleep. So yeah, I definitely overcame that afterwards. But that first assignment, I hated my life every single second of that first project. It was awful.
So I can relate to that. Yeah, I remember one too. Yeah, I can relate. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Earlier, you spoke about a teacher that kind of you had a really good impression. In the creative industry, there's a lot of people that are inspiring. Yeah. So for yourself, is there someone or something that would say that are inspiring for your lighting career?
I wouldn't say someone or something in particular, but I'm so lucky to be living in New York City, because everywhere I look at, it could be an inspiration for whatever I am thinking of at that point. And we have the greatest, like some of the biggest art shows, art fairs, exhibitions, galleries. We have Broadway, we have like all the streets and parks and whatever, and you go to like some restaurants that were designed by some architects, and like you spend some time there and experience and like see how other people are experiencing that same space as you are. And I think like in New York, every time you look around you can get inspired. So I guess my something, if you can like name a city, my something would be New York City.
Okay, great. So in the multitude of projects that you've been working on, what would you say that you do like the most about being, let's say, the lighting designer on that project?
The most favorite one that I have would be the Kith store. Do you know Kith? Maybe you I don't know. So it's this like really cool retail store. We worked on it with this architecture firm, Selin Architecture. They're incredible, super creative. And I worked on it with my coworker, Steven Espinoza. Shout out to Steve from Lighting Workshop. He's also really creative and so fun to work with. And we ended up doing some like little light and art installations, like involving some sneakers, and the whole place turned out to be so cool. It's in Soho, and everybody like has seen it. I guess like everybody that I know has seen it. And it ended up being on some like really cool blogs and like magazines, etc. So I think that would be the most memorable and like fun to work on. But another one would be the Major League Baseball headquarters, just because it was my first large scale project and it took years to complete, and it was so much work. And I started it kind of like at the beginning of my career, like maybe like 6 months in or something. So it was such a proud moment to like see it come to life afterwards. It turned out to be really cool.
Yeah, especially long projects. When they take years and years, it's fun to see them lit.
Especially like at the end of like a couple of years, you even like forget what it's going to look like, and you're like nervous what it's going to look like, and it's like poof, magic.
Yeah, exactly. So you're a fan of baseball, or you just happen to work on that?
No, project? I don't like baseball at all. It's really slow. Like, people might be hating me for saying that, but it's really slow. I can't watch it for like 5 hours. Yeah,
cut
cut
it
it for
for the
YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah, exactly. We'll just cut that part from YouTube. Okay, so okay, I'm inviting you to a car trip, and I happen to have the DeLorean from Back in the Future. So we're heading in the future. Let's pretend that you're in the world where everything is possible. What would be your dream project you would like to work on? What type of project would it be, and why?
Well, my dream project would be to work on an installation art project with Bruce Monroe. Do you know him? So I'm always so mesmerized by his artworks. They're like site specific, these large scale projects that create an emotional response through lighting. And I think he is such a great artist. I haven't gotten a chance to see any of his projects in person yet, but it's on my bucket list. So I think that would be like, I would really want to work in his team and like create this like magical fairy tale like artwork with them.
Okay, I had a under question, which was, is there a firm with whom you would like to collaborate? But let's say I push my luck. Is there an architectural firm which you would like?
An architectural firm,
or someone in architectural field, not in the art. Let's put Bruce aside.
Okay, an architect. Maybe Frank Gehry, just because he works with such interesting like planes, and it would be fun to play with those.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, I'm sure you've already seen, the funny image that shows what my friend thinks I do, what my parents thinks I do, what thinks I do. So, but let's say that you meet someone at a cafe for this first time, and that person wants to know what kind of work you do. How would you describe what is lighting design and what does a lighting designer do?
Okay, well, I actually get this question asked a lot because literally nobody knows what a lighting designer is. So I usually tell them that we create lighting for any kind of built environment, whether it be interior, exterior, landscape. We just create the lighting for built environment, basically for architectural environments.
Okay, so let's say that we know that these last 2 years, work and workplace have been totally changing and challenging. And I'm wondering, how did you, let's say, personally and your company dealt with the work at home part? How has it impacted your daily work? And would you say that it is there to stay?
Honestly, at first it was chaotic because right when lockdown hit, I had this insane deadline for a huge project. And I had to leave New York City to like go upstate somewhere, and I was freaking out. My remote computer wasn't working. I was like having so much anxiety. It was horrible. But afterwards, it all started calming down in terms of like chaotic technology wise, and like everyone started getting used to it. And I started working so overtime. I was working until like midnight, 1 a.m., whatever, because I kept on like going. There was no break period. Like I would just like work out, like have breakfast and just start working, and then eat at my desk, keep on working. And since I was always at my desk, it never ended. Like I never had this break point of like, oh, okay, I'm tired, I'm gonna go take the subway and go home and like chill at home. So I never had that break, and I worked so much for so long. But afterwards, it was kind of also a blessing in disguise because it allowed me to. I had to renew my visa at some point, so I had to go back to Turkey for the first time in like 2 years because of the pandemic, and it allowed me to work from home for a couple of weeks while I was waiting for my passport to come back. So that, I think, was great. And it may not be a great option for you, for example, because you own your company, but for someone like me, and I think I would speak of like a lot of people around, my age group when I say this. But it's, and I talked, well, I talked about this with a lot of friends. It's really nice to have the freedom to, for example, like go somewhere and like work from there, and like at your break, maybe go to the ocean and like hit the slopes or whatever, and then like come back and finish your deadlines. As long as you're responsible and like doing your work, I think having that freedom would show us that we could have. I think that's been life-changing. And if we could have a hybrid approach to work like this, so everyone can enjoy their lives a little bit more, especially in New York, it's like work, work, work. It's like everybody's so serious and like work all the time. So if we can break that a little bit and like enjoy life and, not live to work, but work to live, I think that would be a great, like, in between point.
Yeah, I think it's there to stay, but as you say, there's going to be some challenge to meet everybody's, let's say, request. So as I said 2 weeks ago, I think a hybrid system would probably work, and I think that's what's going to happen too. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, I would be totally okay with a hybrid approach. With I think like that's the best approach. It can't be like totally remote because you have to see samples and like go to meetings, etc. But like being that responsible person, like if you need to be in the office, you will be there. But if you can, go and work from somewhere more calming than like a Brooklyn apartment, for example, it should, having that freedom is, I think, life-changing.
Yeah. So freedom, you would say that it's the nicest part of the work at home?
Yes, 100% freedom.
Having the freedom. And what would you say was the toughest part of work at home?
Technology challenges.
Yeah.
Like when your remote computer is like acting up and there's no one in the office to like reboot it. Yeah, and you're like freaking out because your Revit's not working and it's like not even showing up on your screen and you don't know what's happening. And the IT guy.
Remote Revit, wow.
Yeah, and the IT guy doesn't know what's happening and you're like, I have a deadline.
Do they ever know what's happening? Okay,
honestly,
can we cut that for YouTube too? Okay, so the last 2 or 3 years had a lot of challenging time, both for, let's say, me as boss and you as an employee. But I'm sure that everyone that you've lived with. So let's say, positively speaking, what do you think will come out of this pandemic time? Let's say in let's say 2 to 3 to 5 years, what will be the reflection that we will have that will say, okay, we did that before and the pandemic brought that, which is so much better beside work at home?
I think people are more self-aware and like I think we're more self-aware to like appreciate life, and we all know that it's like really easy to like switch things in an instant, and we need to be more conscious of our mental health and our physical health. We might get like a very intense like toxic health craze from this, but I think we will also like learn to appreciate our lives a little bit better and like live a little bit, instead of just focusing on working all the time.
Yeah.
And being with loved ones and family and like spending time with family and loved ones.
Yeah, like you said, I believe you commute to go to work. So every time you do not commute, it's time that you have for yourself or your family or to go training. So I don't know how much time you take every day to go to work by commute, but let's say even if it's only 30 minutes, every day it's an hour.
Adds up. Yeah.
And at the end of the week, it's 5 hours. So 5 hours of your time, it's worth it. So if you can do something else with that doesn't impact, let's say, the workload or your work, it's really great. So
yeah, definitely.
So everyone will come up with something only positive of those two years. As you said earlier, being born in Turkey, you said?
Yeah.
And moved, let's say Turkish, more later in your how do you say later age. Would you say that your background or your history, your path has influenced how you work with lighting design?
I think so. Yeah. I have moved a little bit. Like I lived in Italy for a while before coming to the United States. So I always think that I have a little bit of a more like eclectic personality and influence. So I think that definitely reflects on like the way I like to design. Also with lighting and just interior design in general. Like I like to be a little bit more maximalist instead of minimalist. And I think if you like had seen, if you have ever traveled to Istanbul, it's a very maximalist like city. We're definitely not minimalistic. It's like a lot is going on. Like not chaotic. Well, Istanbul is pretty chaotic, but you know, I think I have that eclectic approach in my design aesthetic as well.
Okay, so I guess value engineering is really not going well with you.
Yeah, I get really upset. I'm like, no, everything that I really like is going.
Everything is important. You do not understand.
I know, it's always tough. It's a tough moment for me, VE processes.
Okay. If you were not a lighting designer, what would you be?
Interior design or a product designer.
Okay. Interior design. How about be more specific? Or which kind of
like what kind of?
Yeah.
I would like to do like I think residential and hospitality. Yeah.
Okay. And on the product and on the product side?
On the product side, I think I would have wanted to work with like more like collectible art kind of products. I would have loved to work with marble, for example. Marble is my favorite material. Just I guess like a bunch of different materials together, like marble and leather. Yeah, like more collectible art kind of pieces instead of just mass production.
Okay. Having lived in different countries, how would you say that lighting and maybe lighting design also is perceived in those different community or region or?
I think, for example, like okay, I haven't been a lighting designer in the other countries that I lived in, but in New York City, well, we do actually have projects from all over the nation. So our lighting designers in America are very appreciated and recognized. And it's a very niche industry. So everybody is always so interested and curious about lighting design, and they always want to reach out and collaborate with us. Well, in Italy, well, obviously they have a lot of historical sites, so lighting is obviously very important, and it's very different from, for example, like in New York City, like skyline, an Italian skyline. In Turkey, it's a different like mentality. So I think from like for a lot of years, mostly like contractors and electricians have been doing this job. So I think it's a little bit harder to like break that perspective, just because the society is not as you know, like they don't have as broad of a, it's like a more closed community, you know, instead of like they don't, it's harder to break like perspectives. So but being a lighting designer in America, I think it's great. It's very recognized.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. It's harder to get the people to understand the added value of a lighting designer instead of let's just
absolutely.
a contractor or an electrician.
Absolutely.
Okay. One more question before we go to the enlighten us part. What would you say is the hot topic these days in the lighting industry?
I would say PoE systems, power over Ethernet. I can't still wrap my head around it 100%, but we have a presentation on Monday, so if you have questions, DM me and I'll get back to you with my notes on Tuesday. Okay. But it's, yeah, PoE, I would say it's like the big thing right now that's everybody's talking about, the clients are asking about. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Oh, I think we heard the bell, so we have to move to the enlighten us part of the interview.
Okay.
So I would like to invite everyone who would have questions for Selin to write them in the chat, and we will ask them later, and we will go over them with Selin later. So for the enlighten us question, I'm going to ask you some tough questions.
Okay, see.
You have one joker. So if there's a question you rather not answer, you can just say pass, but you can only use your pass only once.
Okay. All right, I'm nervous. Let's do it.
Perfect. Have you ever been caught daydreaming at work?
I would say yes.
Okay. If you had only one movie to watch for the rest of your life, over and over, which one would it be?
Ratatouille. Do you know it? The Pixar movie with the mouse, the chef mouse, like he cooks.
Yes.
Yeah. That's my comfort movie. I probably watched it like 200 times or something. Yeah, that would be my movie.
Okay. Okay. Which celebrity would you want to be friends with?
That's a tough one. Someone interesting. I would say
so he might be listening, or her, she
probably
or he,
not.
I guess.
Probably not. I would say Alexandre Tougas.
Okay.
Do you know him? He's like this. He's kind of a celebrity, like a fashion show producer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your go-to guilty pleasure of ice cream flavor?
Dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Last one.
Okay.
You're at a bar. Someone besides you order a drink.
Okay.
Which drink would make this person go up in your esteem, and which one would make it rock bottom?
Up, I would say dirty martini. Rock bottom, I would say tequila sunrise or something like, I don't know. Yeah, probably like tequila sunrise.
Okay, let me just write down, never order tequila sunrise at gathering. Okay, last one, but it's a tough one. Okay. I had a couple in backup.
Okay.
If you had to lose one of your senses, which one would it be?
I'm gonna say smell.
Yeah, I would have said that too.
Yeah.
It's perfect for us. It's just bad for the others.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the other ones are like must-haves. I'm gonna go with smell. Yeah.
Okay, well, great. Well, you did great. You see, you didn't have to be stressed. It was all fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Good. So I'll see in the Q&A if there are some questions, and we'll answer those. Okay, so AK said, I love that movie. So you see, you're not the only one who likes this movie.
I know. Everybody loves that movie, though. It's such a good movie. You have to watch it, especially if you have kids.
It's Pixar, right? Or maybe I'm mixing all these.
It's either, well, Disney bought Pixar, so
yeah.
So Disney, Pixar, yeah.
Great. So I don't know if is there anyone else who has a question for Selin? Maybe someone is typing, or am I? Someone is typing, so we'll see. I have other questions if you want to. I
Sure.
made plenty of those questions, but let's say they were more of the in the enlighten us questions. So okay, another fun one. What's the most useless talent that you have?
The most useless talent that I have.
I tried to find one for me and I couldn't.
The most useless talent that I have that I can, oh my, yeah, this is the most useless talent that I have. I can spot celebrities on the street like in a second. And I have spotted so many that like nobody's aware of. I would say like that's the most useless talent that I have. And like it's pretty common in New York, running into celebrities.
Yeah. What would be your best place to run into celebrities? Are you willing to share that with us?
Honestly, on the streets, I have run into so many celebrities just walking around. I run into Tina Fey in the Upper West Side like so many times, for example. Yeah, I ran into Jimmy Fallon once. He was so upset, and I was so upset that Jimmy Fallon was upset because he's always like so cheerful. So yeah.
So which celebrity? Let's keep in that. So which celebrity do you? Let's say you spotted and you kind of, oh, it's him. It's or you know you kind of, oh, I saw.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Okay. So okay, there's someone who asked, okay, where do you learn about new lighting products and who are your favorite lighting manufacturers?
Oh, I'm not gonna play favorites. However, I do learn about lighting products mostly from like emails and presentations that they come and like show us their products. They send some samples, and also from Pinterest. There are a lot of like ads on Pinterest and on Instagram. Well, I would say like I learn more decorative fixtures from Instagram.
Yeah.
Just from following a lot of interior design accounts and product design accounts. Yeah. And also going to fairs like education, although it's really overwhelming and my back hurts while walking around for hours. But yeah, it's also a great way to find new products.
Okay, there's a Jared who's asking, between exterior and interior spaces, do you find one or the other more challenging or more fun to design? What's your take?
I would say exterior spaces are more challenging because of the code requirements, like and the products are usually not as powerful as interior products. So it's always hard to provide like this many foot candles around this area and like this many foot candles around this area for PA requirements. And yeah, I feel like I'm always challenged to like get enough foot candles to get through the PA space requirements, basically. Yeah. So exterior.
So exterior more challenging, and which one
Yeah.
is more fun? Exterior also? Challenging can be fun too.
Yeah, challenging can be fun. I really love to design like really cool exterior spaces, but I love to design some like hospitality interiors. Okay. So I would say hospitality interiors would be my favorite. Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite color temperature?
24 on the K.
24.
Yeah, I like it really warm. Yeah, hospitality. But I also like it for like my own living environments. Yeah. Like I can't have anything really like overwhelming and overhead and with cool color temperatures. I have all like table lamps and it's always very moody in my apartment.
Okay. What do you think of AGI?
I love AGI. I feel like it's kind of like a puzzle, you know? You're like always like trying on different fixtures and like you get different like results and it's kind of like a playing with a puzzle. I like it. I really like it.
Okay, and coming back to the 24,000K, what do you think of the dimming, warm dimming?
I love warm dim. I think it is such a cool feature and it gives you so much flexibility for whatever. It like makes the environment so much
Dim to
I
warm,
guess like
or
fabulous looking.
yeah, but would you say dim to warm or dual white? Because when you dim to warm, you cannot have,
Yeah,
let's say, 24K at a certain brightness.
yeah, at a certain brightness. So maybe dim to warm. I'm just gonna go with dim to warm.
Dim to warm. Okay. Good. I'm gonna just go and see if there's any other questions. So Jared, yeah, we've answered. Favorite lighting manufacturer. Yeah. Do you find it hard to get some fixture in your hand from the lighting manufacturer or the agents?
No, everybody's so helpful all the time. It's easy for us to get any sample we want. Everybody's really helpful in this industry. It's great.
Oh yeah? My God. Can you tell the Canadian rep to do that too? Ashley Matthews asking, should lighting designers spend more time modeling things accurately in Revit or be flexible during construction administration? Oh my God, I can speak on this matter. But
Actually,
please, it's your interview. Go.
This has been a question in some of the projects that we have worked on. I think people expect us to really build everything perfectly, but we don't. We usually provide a similar shape of what the fixture is going to be like.
Yeah.
And because sometimes it's just hard to find them on manufacturers' websites, and it takes a lot of time to exactly model everything in Revit and create families for those. So I would say, because we provide cut sheets with everything, so you know, I think it's the best way to just provide something that looks similar and provide a lot of cut sheets for those.
Yeah, I agree. We are currently working on a project which is supposed to be fully integrated in Revit, and we have spent a lot of time trying to put all of our fixture, not only just designing or drafting the fixture to be adequately looking, but just to place it. And on field, there's so many changes that do not make it to Revit. So we arrive on site, and there are some light fixture that cannot be there, which are in Revit since a year or 2 years ago, because mechanical or whatever else subtrade didn't put theirs into Revit. There's an access hatch that happens to be there in the ceiling, but it has never been in the Revit. So I think Revit is good, but everybody has to, if we want a real model, everybody has to do a lot of work to place it for us, because we're the last one to be able to place things. So I guess Revit is good, but it needs to be, let's say, worked by everyone with the same, say, hard work. If
Absolutely.
Everything that is missing, we believe the model is the reality. But if there's only one person in all of the trades that don't do it, it's not the reality, and it's going to have an impact on everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we ask for like shop drawings for almost everything, so people can see what they're going to look like.
Yeah. Okay, Julia is asking, what do you prefer, hand sketch or rendering?
Well, this is actually sad. I used to hand sketch every single day in school. I used to think with my hands, but I think in my professional practice, I lost it. I definitely have lost it working with computers all the time. So now I do prefer like Photoshop renderings. I actually really enjoy working on Photoshop renderings, but I used to love pen sketching, which I'm trying to get back to.
And okay, I hate Photoshop, but
Really? I
yeah.
love Photoshop.
Okay, but you being the lighting designer, have you ever proposed a rendering that you knew that you would never be able to realize because you put your sources at a place where it cannot be to make it look good?
I don't think I've done it in Photoshop. I see what you mean. I think like it's really hard to show everything in Photoshop. So if it's, I guess if it's like impossible to show and we're definitely not going to achieve it, I don't show it in Photoshop because then the client comes back and they're like, you showed me all of this, where is it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I don't show on Photoshop the things that we cannot achieve.
Okay, I agree.
Instead, I try to show reference images. So
Okay.
that's a better
Okay,
approach.
I have to say I hate Photoshop when other people do it. I can work with them to tell them this is not possible. I'm all good with it, but you see where I'm coming. You know, there's
Yeah,
the
definitely.
interior design that show a client something, and then you have to realize it when you know that it's not feasible.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. It's so fun to work with. I don't know, I love it.
Okay. Another question, how do you deal with conflicts arising from compliance with code, let's say such as Ashrae, and client-specific requirements?
This is definitely tough. Well, the code is the code, you know, even if the client is asking for something and we have to comply with the code, we have to explain to them that we cannot achieve this because it's against the code. And like, I guess there's no two ways to go around with because, you know, someone can come and inspect the space and they can get in trouble and we can get in trouble afterwards. So I think it's really important to communicate with the client about code requirements from like in advance. So there's not double expectations, like we're not providing something that they're not expecting something that we cannot give. I think, I guess communication would be how we would deal with it.
Okay, another enlighten us question. Have you ever tricked the code? Like you need, let's say when the inspector comes, you need to have 200 locks, but when he leaves, you just set it up.
You know what?
You haven't used your Joker yet, you know?
I know. I've never done it, but when we were talking about codes on this one project, a client representative suggested that. And we said, well, you can't really do that, but
if you do it once we're done, it's no longer ours.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what we said. We said you can't really do that, but you know, after we hand it over, it's your project. So, but I've actually never tricked it code. Yeah.
You've never complied with the client saying, look, we can tell you that you can do it, but once we're out of the project, who cares?
Well, it's up to them. I think they know. They would know.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay, that's a fun one. Julia is asking, if you had a magic wand wish, what would you wish for in a, that's a good tongue twister. What would you wish for in your lighting design life daily routine?
I think I would want to work in a lot of like hospitality and residential projects. Like if I could do that, I feel like the New York City market is a lot of corporate offices.
Okay.
And if I could work on so much more like residential and hospitality projects, I think I would use my wish for that.
Okay. When you say residential, personal, high-end residential, or let's say towers of residential.
No, definitely not towers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like mansions, for example. I don't know.
Okay. Got it.
Like chalets in, I don't know, like the Swiss mountains or something.
Swiss mountain in the US.
Well, not in the US, that would be in Switzerland, but yeah.
Good. I think we have covered all of the questions. Let's just wait for a minute or two, or at least just give someone, if there's another question, I can go up and see if I had other funny question. Oh yeah, I had one which I don't think I would have asked you. So I think you could no. Have you
Okay,
ever cheated in an exam at Parsons?
No, I did not cheat.
Okay.
I was always very studious. At school I've always been a nerd, but also Parsons exams were not really exams, they were projects.
Yeah.
So, and we had teams at Parsons. We always worked in teams. So I never cheated at Parsons.
Have you ever covered up for someone in your team?
No, because we just didn't cheat. But there was this one class that was more technical, and it was a more open exam, and we would do the exam with every single person in class together. But they would always be such hard questions that we would spend hours like discussing among us and like trying to calculate what it is, and they were always very challenging I guess open exams that we would literally spend like half a day on, but as a whole class.
Okay, great.
So I don't know if it's not cheating because it was allowed, but
no, it's not cheating.
Yeah.
Hey, you're good. You haven't used your joker.
I know.
I should have asked more tougher question. Okay, Julia, okay, that will be the last question. Let's say it's almost 5, so just to make sure that everyone is okay. So what is your perfect light experience?
My perfect light experience, I feel like every time I go to a job site at the end of the project, and if it's constructed really well and there are no like mishaps during the construction project, every time that's like a perfect light experience for me, because you only see it in like construction drawings and you do all of this work in 2D on computers, like every single day working on it, but in 2D and on a computer. So every time I go to the job site and it's actually there, it's this like perfect moment of, thinking, oh my God, it looks so good.
That's one thing with lighting is it's always in our head. It's not something that you can touch. It's not a material. It's not, the light is somewhat of a material and somewhat unmaterial. So I totally relate to what you're saying. Yeah.
I always think that as lighting designers, we create magic because it's this intangible source that surrounds all of us. And it's for, people, it changes your mood. It can make you feel anxious or like really happy or really calm. So we're like magicians in like built environments, basically.
Okay, so we do not want to let you go. So we have another question.
Yay.
What's the most challenging aspect of lighting design as a profession?
I think the most challenging aspect is when submittals from every single project keep like raining on you, and you have to like analyze every single one of them, and everyone wants a turnaround time of like a day, like sometime ridiculous, and you have to pay a lot of attention because it's a very large scale project, and everyone, obviously you want everything to be perfect. I would say like that is the most challenging. It's because I'm going through that process right now. I can relate to it. It's like raining submittals from left and right.
Yeah, and if you approve it, it's for you. It's for your head. If
exactly.
If it's bad,
it's
your mistake.
Even
Even though if you send the right cut sheet, if it comes back bad and you approve it, you're dead.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the submittal process is the hardest.
Yeah,
that's when things get real.
Yeah, totally. And I have one more question for that. Have you ever found yourself, I'm gonna say, feel like working in a kindergarten with manufacturers sending bad cut sheets or returning, you sent a perfect cut sheet, which is clear crystal, and then they come back totally wrong, and you just say, look, if I didn't go over your work, I would be screwed on site.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes I feel like I say something, and every single time I ask for a revise and resubmit, and every single time they send the exact same thing that they sent before. So I have to write a personal email saying, when do you think this will get picked up? Because this is really important. So then afterward, it gets picked up. But up until that point, when you see that same thing 4 times, you get really frustrated.
Yeah, okay. It makes me feel better than say that it's not only in Canada that this happened. It's maybe
no,
everywhere.
absolutely not. I think it's everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we really don't want to go. So what makes a light designer a better light designer in your opinion?
I think understanding the environment and the client that you're working for, and providing the best to your ability, and creating a very magical and well-functioning space. I think that's what makes a lighting designer good at their job.
To be able to catch up on everything that will affect the last touch. We're bringing the last touch, so someone can understand all of the aspect of everything that will be impacted by lighting. I think it's the most important characteristic of a lighting designer. So hey, no more question. I think we
okay,
good.
Done.
We're gonna give back the microphone to the IALD.
Great.
David? Is it David? Yeah.
Yes, hi.
Hey.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Selin. My name is David Suck. I'm one of the chapter coordinators for IALD here in New York City. If anyone ever comes to New York City and wants to hang out with Selin and go looking for celebrities, hit us up. So this week's Designers by Designer interview was sponsored in part by Lutron. Beautiful light, powerful shades, intelligent controls. That's Lutron, the world leader in architectural lighting and shading solutions. Realize your vision with their distinctly crafted aesthetics and innovative technologies, thoughtfully composed to enhance design and transform space with light. To learn more, go to lutron.com/Athena. Be sure to join us again for Designer by Designer next in 2 weeks on March 10th, when Selin will be interviewed by Gerd Farrar, fellow IALD from the IALD Germany chapter. Registration to join us on Zoom will open soon, and of course, you can always join us on Facebook Live as well. You can also rewatch any of the Designer by Designer interviews and all of IALD's video content on the IALD YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe. Thank you all again, and have a great day.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.